In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to make this stylish, simple two-piece bustier top. So if you haven't yet seen the drafting tutorial, please go ahead to check that out on the channel. So to start, here is my pattern which I've already cut out. So at the front part of my pattern and the upper part, I added half inch. So on the other side also, I added half inch on top at the front and at the lower part. So I also added half inch just the same way I did for the joining allowance, the upper parts and the lower part. Also half inch at the center of the pattern. So here's my lining which I am cutting out. So I'm just going to trace out what I have on the main fabric to cut this out. So after cutting this out, we're going to iron it, that is add an interfacing to it before we go ahead to make the dress. So now on the lining piece, I'll go ahead to iron a gum stay on it. I'll start ironing from the front part of my pattern, and after ironing, I'll go ahead also to iron the back part of my pattern. So this is the back part. I'm placing it. Another thing you want to do is to be careful when you're placing your pattern so that you don't go ahead to misplace. Now on the main fabric, I went ahead to place like an stay at the bustier area. So if you don't want to use like a padding, like you're wanting to pad your fabric, you can cut out like 2 to 5 layers of stay and you can go ahead to iron it on that part. You're cutting stay preferably. Now after ironing, I'm just going to go ahead to pin this down and I'm going to stitch it up with half inch. So just the same way that I joined this, I'll be joining the lining part of my bustier also. I'll go ahead to pin and I will join with half inch. So if joining it directly, you're not going to mark exactly half inch, you can also mark that on your pattern before joining. Now this is the back pattern which I've already pinned together, the lining. Go ahead also to pin it and you will join. This is also the front part, that is the back part of the pattern. Now another thing is to go ahead to notch your pattern so that you don't go ahead to misplace it. So I'm placing my pattern this way. What I'll do is to go ahead to join it with half inch on this part. So after joining the bustier area of my pattern, this is what I have. Now if you notice, it is sitting well already. So if the cutting of your bustier pattern is not okay, it will not have this balance or come out this deep or stand on its own. Now this is the main fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead to iron this out. So to save time, I'll just do that off the camera. So I cut out this fabric which is about 22 inches by 4 inches. I'll go ahead to fold that. These are my pattern that I have already joined. Now I will go ahead to just give it a quick ironing before going ahead to join it to the main fabric. Now another thing is that you can go ahead to notch it, or you can just iron it out this way and then place your fabric and pin it before going ahead to join it to the lining of the dress. So I'll just go ahead to pin this out and I'll be stitching it with half inch. So now after pinning it, I'll just go ahead to stitch, and I'll be stitching with half inch just like I said. So I'll be stitching with half inch round my pattern. So I'll stitch with half inch round, then I'll leave like a little space on one side to turn it. Now this is the other side and I will repeat the same process on it. So after joining the back pattern, this is what I have, that is turning it with the lining. I'll go ahead to notch this round. After notching it, I'm going to go ahead to turn it from the opening I left on one side going towards the sewing allowance. the opening should be towards the sewing allowance so that you can easily stitch it down after you're done turning it to the right side. So here is my pattern. After turning it, I'll go ahead to iron it to straighten it out. So after ironing it, the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead to fold in this 1/2 inch here by the side, and I will top stitch on it. So after I'm done top stitching, this is what I have for the both back pattern. Now I'll be marking my zipper allowance. Remember when we drafted out this pattern, we use 1.5 for zipper allowance. Now I'll use 1/2 inch for we use 1/2 inch for turn up, remaining 1 inch. That is why now our zipper is just 1 inch to add your zipper. So what I'll do is just to go ahead to go over to the sewing machine, and I'll add my zipper to the back pattern of my dress. So after this, we'll move over to the front part of this dress. So after I'm done ironing the main fabric and the lining of my front pattern. So this is what I made the straps for the backless part of this dress. So I'll just go ahead to iron this out, and after ironing it out, we're going to attach it to the bustier area. So now you want to also note where you will place each part of this little strap for the back, because where you place this should also be the same at the other side of your pattern. Now I'll go ahead to place this, and I will pin it down together. After pinning it, we'll go over to the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch this. So if you have any question, please go ahead to leave that on the comment section. So this is me pinning it down. You actually need to pin this down, and then if you have any excess, you can go ahead to cut it off. And those loop or straps we have, I'll put it inside this way, and then take out the excess I have here. Now go ahead to pin down my outfit. So now what you do is to go ahead to shape this all the way around with 1/2 inch. I'll be marking 1/2 inch on my pattern round, or you can stitch it out round with 1/2 inch if you're okay with that. If you can sew directly with 1/2 inch, you can do that. If not, go ahead to mark 1/2 inch round your pattern. So after doing that, I'll stitch this all the way around. Then I'll leave one side that I will use to turn my bustier pattern to the right side. So this is the zipper. I've gone ahead to add the zipper, and this is what I have. Now this is the bustier pattern. All I'll do is just to go ahead to notch this all the way around so that it's going to sit very well when I open it up. Another way is to top stitch the lining of the upper part to the lining part. That is the 1/2 inch, you top stitch it to the lining before joining or turning up the sides of your pattern. Now this is what I have for my pattern. After I'm done turning it from the other side, I'll fold this in and I'll top stitch. So after top stitching, this is what I have, and if you can see, my bustier is sitting very well. I put my tailor's arm underneath to re-iron my bustier pattern so that it will sit very well. Now this is what I have, and the next step is to go ahead to turn this up or to shape the sides. Before doing that, I'll place the back pattern, and we are going to pin this down. So there are several methods of shaping your bustier. So I'll just use a normal pattern or a normal method of shaping out your dress so that it will be easier to understand. Now I'll place my tape and find my underbust, then mark my waistline. So the rest is my blouse length. After this, I'm going to place my tape at the bust area and measure what I have. So what I have here is roughly 18.5. My bust is 33 inches divided by 2. I have 16.5. So if you take out 16.5 from 18.5, what will be remaining is 2 inches. I'll mark 1 inch here and 1 inch at the other side. Remember when we were even making our dress, the sewing allowance we added was just 1.5 on each side, which means we used half inch to shape our dress. And after measurement, what I have here left is 1 inch on both sides, which I am correct. Now after marking that, I'll go over to the under bust of my pattern. Now at the under bust, I'll place my tape, and what I have there is 16 inches. My under bust is 28 divided by 2. I have 14. So if I take out 14 from 16 inches, what I have is 2 inches, and if I shape it out, I'll have 1 inch on the both sides. So I marked 1 inch on both sides, repeated the same thing at the waist because my waist and my under bust is the same measurement. So here what I did was just to slant this all the way down and connect it up. Repeated this at this other side. So after now, I'll go ahead to stitch my top. So after stitching, this is what I have. So sorry, my video was actually blurry. I had to like use another camera to film this particular video. So this is the end of today's tutorial, and join us in our next video. Thanks.